opportunity, on behalf of SDP, I would like to extend our gratitude to all of you who are here, who braved the rain, the muddy field, to be here with us, and also to our volunteers. Can you all please boom pipi to all our volunteers? Give them a round of applause. Whether they are here, they are behind. Give a round of applause to all our volunteers, because without them, all this thing won't happen. And also give a round of applause to all our men in blue. They also working very hard to make sure everyone is safe. Thank you very much. And I must emphasize, your vote is secret. 投票是秘密的，所以不要怕把你们的票投给我们，投给反对党。对，很勇敢。Your vote is secret. Vote for us. Even our policemen can also vote for us. Their boss will not know, okay? 对，投票是你的自由，谢谢你。哈 ？Sorry? I see the energy here today. Shall we? While still waiting for the rally to start, let's have some rah-rah. Come on. SDP. SDP. Dr. Chi. 谢谢你们。本 BB 嘞？我多一下子再上来 ，OK？ 现在有时间，请去我们的那个 merchandise 支持我们，谢谢。啊，对，我们有 double 大汉 T-shirt 去买啊。A reminder， 你们接下来的几天如果来我们的群众大会，请穿红色 ，OK？ 请穿红色来支持我们。For those of you coming to the rest of the rally, please come in red and show your support to us, okay? And those who doesn't have red, please behind there's T-shirt. You can get your red T-shirts from our merchandise. Thank you very much. 哦，講福建，我袂記，我是阿蓮哦，阿蓮對曉講福建話。啊，投了民主黨一票，投徐順全一票。OK， 徐順全會去國會跟咱出聲。啊，感謝感謝。紅紅袂害人。
我都不聊了，再聊聊。来啊，慢慢来啊，梦了。慢慢来，咩讲话好笑啊？去后面拿大旗来。啊，后面刚刚拿大旗，大旗很多，去拿。啊，去拿，要大旗，来，对的，后面拿大旗。来个。你们摄影没有摄群众的，啊？没有啊，群众没有摄取，没有拍出来哪里好？老板说不有。啊 ，BNB 可以吗？没有啊，我们啊 ，BNB 可以的。对，反对党不可以的，反对党没有拍群众出来的嘞。BNB 可以啊 ，BNB 可以拍出来的。啊，那公平对哦。BNB 也是有区别的。反对党的人没买进来，少。你真正无看到咧，刚刚翕个台啊，你俩刷了咧，啊你也翕做什么？哦，啊，钓鱼啊，钓无人会睇见，啊，加条好啲，係，多啲入邊。外國。呢度 BB 有咧，BB。正我都冇看到兩個正啊。啊，拿大旗，敢拿，拿大旗。没有。你没去后敢看？啊，刚刚也可以啊，慢慢走。敢拿大旗，大就大。好，看到。Blue SE. Coming. We support him from the back. BNB 個車 ，BNB 個車先。車 makan our money BNB 啊。Oh yes, let's show.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Ko roti. You don't know ah? No, you go see BNB, go roti, water. Go bus. Transport.
Everybody,
You know. BNB transport.
Yeah.
Then you go home.
Now they talk about it.
You don't know. BNB you don't know.
Actually,
People no Singaporean mà. Chinese people many I say. Don't know ah? SDP go bus no. Bus follow no people come in correct.
We love them. Everybody are here.
So you go CBP or go transport bus.
Hi everybody, while we are waiting, just an announcement. We need volunteers for polling agent and counting agent. Please go and sign up. 我们还需要很多 polling agent， 你懂吗？那个大选的时候会是在那个投票的中心，帮忙我们。What is polling agent called 啊 ？Anybody？ 哈，没有投票，没有 voucher 啊？1块钱对吗？1块钱对吗？1块钱换鸡蛋啊？不用紧，你拿你的1块钱去换了吧，你还是投那个徐顺全一票哈。呀。哈 polling agent. So can I please request for more volunteers to help us with the polling agent, counting agent? You can sign up and find out more from our booth behind. 我们很需要很多的那个志愿者，你们要咨询更多详细的内容，请去后台询问。好，我们那边会有人帮你们讲解。OK， 我们很需要很多的那个 polling agent。I think 是叫投票员是吗？有可能叫投票员是吗？投票代理员。OK， 谢谢你。We learn new things every day. 歹势啊，我看不到你，因为这会黑哦，淡薄光啊。电视机看不到咱的人面。OK。对咯。So 生活费的上涨，害到我们很多人民民不聊生，所以这次5年以来的一次机会，给你们投徐顺全一票。我本身认为他是全新加坡最值得把他送入国会的一个议员，30多年了。谢谢，30多年的他都在默默的为我们人民发声。So 居民们，现在就是你们的机会，把徐顺全送入国会。
Hi everybody, good evening. Sorry, I just came because I just had to finish work.
Yes, my colleagues.
Everybody having a good evening today?
So now, shall we? SDP!
SDP! We've got a very long lineup of candidates lined up for you tonight. But at the beginning of tonight, we're going to have a warm-up speech by one of our young Democrats. His name is Joshua. He has been volunteering for Dr. Chi for quite a while as well. Yeah, sorry. Yes, of course. If you have whistles, please use them for the rest of tonight. If you have clappers, yes, please. The more noise, the better, please, tonight.
Yes. Let's welcome Joshua.
Just bear with me. I'm not Dr. Chi by any long shot. And this is my first rally speech. So, if I got a little bit of hiccup, just forgive me lah. Okay. Good evening, Singapore. 大家晚上好. Thank you everybody for coming today. Well, really a lot of you. It's very encouraging. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Joshua Shu, and I am 29 years old this year. You might be wondering, what is a foreigner doing up here? 这个外劳人上台讲什么? Well, that is because my parents migrated here from Taiwan sometime in the 90s. But let me assure you that while I may look very different, I do not have a multi-million-dollar good-class bungalow, nor do I earn a $10,000 salary at Hai Di Lao. While I might be a second-generation Singaporean, I am not immune to the fear of opposition politics. Like many Singaporeans, my mom has repeatedly told me not to risk my career and safety being in opposition politics. She says it in Chinese, 儿子，不要加入反对党. As such, I have had second thoughts of backing out from today's speech. But I remind myself why I am doing this today. To give voice to those who have none. To speak truth to power. Today, I want to direct my speech to those of you who have yet to decide who you are going to vote for. To those of you who are open to consider a viable alternative. I joined the SDP shortly after GE2020. And throughout the years of being on the ground in Bukit Batok with Dr. Chi and the SDP team, back when Bukit Batok was a SMC, I have had the privilege of having the residents of Bukit Batok share their stories with me. Today, I want to share a story that left a deep impression within me. For the purposes of protecting this man, I shall name him Mr. Tan. Mr. Tan is a young senior. He works as a cleaner, earning $1,900 a month before CPF. Mr. Tan's mother unfortunately suffered a stroke and was admitted into a community hospital. The community hospital has provided Mr. Tan's mother a 75% subsidy on its daily bill charges, which works out to be about $1,110 a month. Because of his mother's financial circumstance, Mr. Tan would have to cover for his mother's hospital bills. Aside from this, Mr. Tan has an insurance policy that he must maintain should he be hospitalized, which works out to be about another $500 a month. So 1.9K income before CPF, $1,110 hospital bill, $500 for insurance. If you do the math, you will realize his monthly income has been pretty much neutralized. Don't forget, he also has food, utilities, and other miscellaneous bills to pay. So how does he survive? Well, from time to time, Mr. Tan tries to keep up by applying for ComCare assistance. Sometimes he has to go to his MP for meal vouchers assistance. I recall when I was having this conversation in his home, I could feel how tired he was from making the constant appeals to the relevant agencies. All the assistance given, and he still would not be able to save any money, much less enjoy the fruits of his labor. He expressed to me in Chinese, 一天过一天, living from hand to mouth. Stereotypical arguments made by critics, perhaps from the other side, would go something like this. Who asked him not to work hard? I can guarantee you, Mr. Tan is far from lazy. Why do I say that? Now, this is how I remember his case very vividly till today. I didn't meet Mr. Tan in our conventional house visits. The first time I chanced upon him was when I was walking back from our party's headquarters. Mr. Tan was pushing cardboards late at night, picking up cardboards that fell by the traffic wayside. Think about it. A man nearing his retirement age collecting cardboards after his work as a cleaner during the day. Being a filial son and not being able to save, not being able to retire, much less enjoy the fruits of his labor. Mr. Tan's case is not an isolated incident. As we went from Bukit Batok to Sembawang West, a Malay abang came up to me and unprompted, he shared with me how his CPF funds has been drawn down to the point where he has become less than $500 a month, struggling to keep pace with the cost of living. The recent number of seniors that make our workforce today is about 31%. Imagine how many are struggling to retire or have to come out of retirement because of the insufficient savings. But perhaps what is most alarming is how Prime Minister Lawrence Wong plans to tackle these retirement adequacy issues. In a Lianhe Zaobao interview, when asked how he was going to tackle the retirement adequacy, guess what he said? I quote, "We have to be prepared to stay employed and work longer." Multi-million-dollar Prime Minister. He even suggested in 2023 that a lot of people want to work because of their health. How do you tell that to people like Mr. Tan? How do you tell that to Singaporeans when an online poll shows 96% of people disagreeing with you? When big groups of seniors must rush for $1 dues, so much so that the police have to be called in. And when the whole nation has become so dependent on vouchers and rebates, I cannot help but wonder, is this the refreshed PAP? If it is, we are all in big trouble. My message is this: those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. And like Gandhi once said, the true measure of any society is how it treats its most vulnerable members. 60 years has gone by for the PAP to demonstrate how they can take care of our elderly. This is where we are at now, in constant survival mode. It is our duty to make sure that our parents and our generation do not repeat and suffer under the PAP's elitist policies. Seniors like Mr. Tan have been drawing down their CPF to pay for their housing with, quote-unquote, no cash outlay. A marketing jingle that has been used consistently by the PAP. Prime Minister Lawrence Wong even said 8 years ago that our HDBs are a good store of value. But when the Vice President and Senior Investment Strategist of OCBC says, quote, "Hoping for your HDB flat to appreciate in price by the time you retire so that you can unlock value by selling the flat is not a sound strategy," you really must wonder, what is Prime Minister Wong smoking? This is not only unsound as a retirement strategy, but it is also extremely unsustainable for our younger generation. Our younger generation. The generation that will be the next lifeline of Singapore. The ones that will be here to shore up our national defense in an increasingly unstable world. Today, more and more HDB flats have become price exorbitant. The number used to be 71 resale HDB flats for selling at least $1 million back in 2018. As of 2024 last year, the number has now gone up to 1,035 flats. A 14 times increase in $1 million resale HDB flats. The PAP will tell you, oh, these are just a minority of flats. You still can go for BTO. But what they don't tell you is that these resale flats have an influence in how new BTO flats are being priced. Sure, you can say there's subsidy, but ultimately, where does the subsidy come from? It certainly didn't come from NTUC income, because last I checked, they wanted to sell to Allianz. Subsidies come from all of us taxpayers. And instead of trying to rethink the housing policy, it justifies the bulldozing of more and more forests to make way for flats in a nation where total fertility rate is plummeting. And might I remind you that the threat of a sea level rise is expected to reach our shores at a much earlier than expected pace. This will greatly impact our response to such a threat. But when any attempts made by the opposition to make housing affordable, the PAP will shut it down with common criticisms such as raiding the reserves or even populist. And who can forget the ex-Speaker of Parliament, who used the word populist too strongly. We all know what happened to that guy. The PAP has been so conditioned to be profit-seeking, to see Singaporeans as nothing more but economic units. They can't help but totally disregard what Singaporeans bring to the table as a collective whole. The whole idea that if you make housing prices affordable, that somehow you are raiding the reserves, as we would not have sufficient investment revenue to spend for future generations, is a fallacy that even they themselves have been so convinced. They fail to see that if the same amount of money had just simply remained in the hands of the people, it could not only boost the retirement adequacy of our seniors, people like Mr. Tan, to live out in dignity, but also have the same positive effects of our economy, as it would be re-spent by the people to create more jobs, raise incomes, and generate tax revenue in the process, which ultimately just ends up back in the government. Left hand out, right pocket in. The PAP's favorite. The PAP has had a hard time raising the productivity over the years. It formed numerous committees using our taxpayers' money. Not only did they fail, but now they are taxing you to cover for their mistake. And what do they do in return to reward you? A high population density, telling Singaporeans that public fares should not be tied to service levels or disruptions, to giving out fish after suggesting in Parliament that university degrees should have expiries. I caution all those who are considering voting for the PAP. While the PAP is undergoing a change in leadership, 60 years of PAP rule has bred complacency and one-way, narrow-minded thinking. It has further entrenched the habitual tendencies of elitism. We took the pledge as Singaporeans to achieve our country's happiness, prosperity, and progress. We didn't take the pledge to surrender all those ideals away to one sole party that has formed the government for an unusually long term compared to other nations across the world. Only by sending in the SDP can we begin to repair the damage that the PAP has done not only to our minds but our resolve. By voting for the SDP, we will work to safeguard your prosperity by making sure our cost of living is manageable with fiscal responsibility, to protect your livelihoods while at the same time innovating to create new opportunities for our economy rather than just growing it by the size of human capital. Where the PAP has failed, the SDP will succeed. Time for us to bring sanity to restore the HDB's original mission of public housing, not just for the younger generations, but for seniors like Mr. Tan with the SDP's non-open market housing proposal. Thank you. And before I just close things off, because I'm running out of time, 30 seconds. Okay. Let me just say a few good words for Dr. Chi. I've been with Dr. Chi for 4 years now. I had the chance to monitor and see for myself how this man performs. Every time I go out with him, I see his dedication for the residents, his commitment to serve, his commitment to protect those people like Mr. Tan who can't voice out because they are in fear that the PAP will go after people like him for his meal vouchers and his assistance. Dr. Chi is the man to send into Parliament. He is the person that will listen to you even if you have criticisms about his policy. He will listen to you. He will answer you. He will not back out. Let us vote for Dr. Chi in Sembawang West. Let us vote for SDP. Thank you, everyone. Let's go and bring back
Thank you, Joshua. Once again, a round of a rousing applause for Joshua, please. That was his very, very, very first time on stage speaking to such a crowd, yeah?
If there's a reminder, when Dr. Chi stood in the by-election in 2016, Grace Fu said that Dr. Chi is without a job. So because he's without a job, he cannot govern or he cannot be in parliament because who is going to vote for someone without a job? So I have to remind all of them, Dr. Chi is not without a job. He's a writer. He wrote books. So for those of you who support him, this is one of his books that he's selling. And he wrote, and you can buy from our merchandise. And this book is so apt. Never on bended knees. And all these 30 plus years, Dr. Chi, never on bended knees, no matter what was thrown at him by the media, by the machinery, by his opponents.
So he suffered for all of us, right, gentlemen, ladies? At the back over there are tentages. Today, we have volunteers manning the tentages. We would really appreciate if you could purchase some of our merchandise because every cent will go to funding the team. For example, we have over here teddy bears. We also have books. We also have umbrellas. As we come on stage more often later on, you will see us selling more and more koyok for you.
三巴旺的居民，徐顺全，支持徐顺全的，请去买他的书。他以前一直给那个政府控告的时候，他就是以卖书来维持生活，卖书来养大他的3个孩子。所以你支持徐顺全的话，请去后台帮忙徐顺全买1-2本他的书，好不好？那个沈巴湾的居民们，好不好？支持徐顺全，把徐顺全送入国会。他才可以去国会替你们发言。
And if you would like to get a signature, an autograph from Dr. Chi as well, you can stay back at the end of tonight's rally and queue up nicely. Dr. Chi will certainly entertain everybody. Somebody over there mentioned one of the very important merchandise that I forgot to mention, which is the what? Tak boleh tahan T-shirt. This is in reference to an incident that happened back in 2008. If you would bother to Google about it, you will probably find out a little more. But we will not, we will spare you the details of that first because we need to introduce.
Sorry, we found a handphone.
Oh no.
At the ladies' toilet. What phone is this? Apple.
It's an Apple phone.
It's an Apple iPhone.
It's on StarHub,
Yes.
reception.
Whoever lost your phone, you just need to donate like $10 or what, you can claim it back, okay? Anything for fundraising.
No CDC vouchers for use for here. CDC vouchers are not what we advocate over here, all right? I also just wanted to add one more quick because she mentioned about Grace Fu, mentioned about what? Unemployed and whatsoever. Ladies and gentlemen, I myself am also unemployed. In other words, a lot of us here are what we call self-employed. Isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? So what do you mean by self-employed equals to not contributing to this country's GDP? I see some of my fellow artist friends out there as well shaking banners. Yeah. So for the rest of tonight, we really appreciate your presence here. We also appreciate your cheers together. One round of very loud cheers off right now.
SDP! SDP! Dr. Chi! Thank you very much.
Thank you. And before we get off stage, we would like to introduce to you our next candidate who is coming on stage. He is none other than Jufrey from from MYTJRC.
Jeffrey?
Good evening, everyone. Takeho. Apa khabar? Vanakkam. Dear brothers and sisters, uncles and aunties, can you all do me one favor? Give yourself a round of applause for coming to the rally so early in the evening, and we hope you will stay throughout until the end. Can we do that? A big thank you for welcoming the Singapore Democratic Party into your homes here in Sembawang West. And even a bigger thank you for welcoming Dr. Chi Soon Juan to your town. Now, 2 nights ago, Mr. Ong Yi Kang So should I continue? All right. 2 nights ago, Mr. Ong Yi Kang said that Dr. Chi, quote unquote, abandoned Bukit Batok to come to Sembawang West. But we all know how Bukit Batok SMC magically disappeared and appeared in the newly created Jurong East Bukit Batok GRC. What was that again? This morning, Ong Yi Kang said that there is nothing wrong with making political calculations with moving constituencies. Look who's flipping the prata now. Speaking of prata, we have met hawkers, senior citizens, and youth during our walkabouts. And the message is clear. Everyone's struggling. Struggling to get by, making barely enough to survive. Is this really the life we want for ourselves? Do we really want that kind of life? There you go. I don't believe so too. We don't want to just survive. We want to thrive. In that same PAP rally that night, Polisan, she countered our proposals, one of which was to reduce the GST. She said that money doesn't fall from the sky. Of course, I agree. We all agree. Money doesn't come from the sky. It doesn't. For us, the average Singaporeans, but not for them. As for ministers, salaries shoot up like rockets, straight to the moon. Compare this. The annual salary of the US president is about $400,000, which is about slightly over 500,000 Sing. The annual salary of Singapore's Prime Minister in Singapore dollars is $2.2 million, while an entry-level minister in Singapore draws a salary of $1.1 million per year. Now we say, cut the $1 million salaries. And while we are there, we abolish the useless mayor positions. What say you? We can use that money to help Singaporeans with more important things like healthcare, housing, education, real support where it matters. Because we don't need million-dollar salaries to serve the people. You want to be a servant of the people, then serve. If not, step aside. We'll do the job with less pay and more heart. The Singapore Democratic Party doesn't believe in paying ourselves first. We believe in serving you first. Now, let's talk about this position called mayor. Can I ask you all a simple question? Do you even know who your mayor is? Exactly. They show up for ribbon cuttings, get paid 6 figures a year. While we are all trying to figure out how to pay our next utility bill. What a striking contrast. Now we say, once again, abolish that mayor positions. With that, we can also use that money to support the people, our seniors, our students, for fund healthcare subsidies, like I said, housing grants, mental health services, because this is all about priorities. We feel your pain, your struggle, your hope. Please, give us the chance to serve you. This election is about fairness, courage, and dignity. And if we can stand together tonight, believe me, we can build a better Singapore tomorrow. Vote SDP, vote with heart, vote for the change. Now I would like to convey some messages to the Malay community in Malay. Salam sejahtera buat semua. Kita sering dengar alasan ini. Kita mesti bayar menteri dengan gaji yang tinggi supaya mereka tidak rasuah. Betul tak? Kalau begitu, bagaimana pula dengan S. Iswaran? Kalau gaji tinggi sepatutnya mencegah rasuah, kenapa sogokan dimakan? Inilah buktinya, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan. Masalah bukan pada jumlah wang. Masalahnya ialah pada nilai, pada integriti, pada accountability, pada ketulusan. Di Parti Demokratik Singapura, kami tidak percaya bahawa gaji berjuta akan menjadikan seseorang itu bermoral. Kami percaya pada khidmat. Kami percaya pada tanggungjawab, pada keikhlasan. Kita tidak patut jadi pemimpin untuk mengkayakan diri sendiri. Kita jadi pemimpin untuk mengangkat rakyat. Kita perlu kembalikan kepercayaan, kepimpinan, harapan. Saya akan menutupkan pidato saya pada malam ini dengan sebuah pantun. Beras pulut, jagung berteh, air bali diikat tepi. Jangan takut warna putih, 3 Mei nanti undi SDP. Untuk bangsa dan negara, majulah Singapura, undilah SDP. Thank you everyone and good night.
SDP! SDP!
SDP. So 来届的5月3号，
那就是礼拜6了，对吗？1个礼拜之后。
对，你们记得要投我们新加坡民主党一票。好像刚才我们的候选人 Jufrey， 他是马斯林邮递的那个候选人之一。So 5月3号，把我们的11位候选人送入国会。
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I implore you to possibly make a trip, maybe during your toilet break, also down to the tentages at the back, because I would like to implore you to purchase some merchandise. For example, an umbrella over here that will come in quite handy if you are going to join many of our next few days' rallies, right?
对，我们的雨伞代表了我们新加坡民主党跟你们风雨同舟。下雨的时候，我们会遮挡你们，陪你们。还有，我们新加坡民主党也是很需要那个投票监督员 polling agent， 请你们去我们的后台那边sign up for volunteer.
So as a party, we do need more volunteers, not just for our activities, which we are more than welcome to join as well. We also need polling agents specifically registered for next Saturday, 3rd of May, when we have the elections. Every single voting center, we will need at least one representative, and that will be our polling agent down there. So
I think we need 4, right? Or depending on how many polling desks they have.
I mean, every center at least one, but within one GRC there will be many, right?
We need a lot of polling agents, so please come and help us, especially the residents of the constituency that we are standing.
That will be nearer to your house as well, yeah?
Yeah. So come and help us sign up to find out more information on how many polling agents we need. Our volunteers behind will be more than willing to answer all your questions, okay? Thank you very much.
And so our next candidate coming up on stage will be Jijin Wong. Jijin shared with me earlier that one of her hobbies is actually hiking. And so can we welcome her as she hikes on stage together into a brand new future for everybody out here?
Yes, let's welcome Dr. Jijin Wong.
Sembawang 亲爱的三巴旺集选区三巴旺西选民，还有马西岭游池的选民，你们大家好。安哥、安弟，吹高一组哈。食饱未？啉酒啊？唔系啦，较晏啦吼。我想跟大家解释一下3个词语的意思。第一个就是政府，第二个就是公务员，第3个词语的意思就是说，我想跟大家讲的就是国会议员。这3个职务到底有什么区别？第一个，政府就是那个政府啦。government sectors 啦，里面呢是包括了很多部门啊，国防部、交通部、教育部、财政部、外交部 ，all the 部 ，OK？ 这些部门呢的负责的工作，就是对国家的对内跟对外的工作啦，就是说做那个 country 内边的 country 外口的 country 啦。所以无管你是落雨也好，无落雨也好，这政府部门拢就爱做工的，对无？你无政府，一本就爱做工的啦，吼。所以又回到讲最后一个，就是还有讲到我们的 public civil servant 啊，就是政府公务员。公务员就是 public civil servant 咯，只是看到马达啦、财务 税务局的财务就看无啊，公务员啦吼，就是甲政府工的啦，甲政府拍工的啦吼，伊人是伫政府部门里面做工的，所以叫做公务员呐 ，public civil servant。另外一个，我想跟大家讲的就是，你们即将要投的国会议员，什么是国会议员呢？他的工作到底是做什么的？其实，国会议员就是 member of the parliament。我是用很简单的意思跟你们讲啦，他的工作是做什么的呢？是代表我们的选区去国会里面辩论，为我们的选区的人民争取利益，去辩论啊！你们自己有眼睛看吗？我又没有说，对不对？你看到反对党的人都在国会里面，天天赶紧嘎咯嘎咯。BAB 的人就在那边，没看到有几个嘞，好像Parliament很少人哦，里面哦，你们发现了没有？人又少，又有些人在那边，别讲啦，别到困啊。所以我们的 MP 啊，就是所谓的 Member of Parliament， 就是你们即将要选的啦，国会的议员啦，就是要代表你们去国会跟你搞得争有争无，搞得争 GST 啦，搞得争什么改包折这款的啦吼。所以他们的其中一个工作，除了跟你们 fight 以外哈，还要负责我们的市政理事会当考社的工作啦。那当考社是做什么的呢？就是管你们的小区的打扫卫生啦、扫涂骹啦、有办无啦、有水饮水无啦，这块物件环境的建设啦，就是他们的工作，这是我们的要选的 MP 的工作啦。所以认清楚了 ，MP 有2个工作。一个就是在 Parliament 里面帮你 fight，OK？ 另一个工作就是市政理事会当考社，就是看你粪扫桶哦，有人甲你倒垃圾无啦，那清气无啦，你街道啦，啊你有派无啦，这款物件啦，吼。还有，我想告诉我们的选民啦，即使我们BAB 啊，人民行动党啊，今天不当政府了，我做政府了吼，我们的国家还是照样走。bus 做照行 ，MRT 照行，马照走。sorry 啊，无马走了，这阵吼，干子搬去了，伊马唔知去到倒落去了吼，无马走了。马食草，咱人食什么？吃水，好啦，无水就吃水咯。有一句话叫做"有情饮水饱"啊，我们真的要喝白开水了。OK， 你们大家现在明白了吗？我希望我讲清楚吼，重要的话要讲多一次给你们知道。Government 是什么？政府是什么？伊个部门，伊是一个部门来的哦。落雨。吹风拍袂走的，部门第一道的，换政府本是第一道的，你免惊哦。这是 government，public civil servant 就是你的财富，甲你做工的，嘛是第一道的，伊人是伫政府部门内面做工的。MP 是你人敬的，你人敬来做什么呢？伫国会甲恁 fight 的 ，OK， 甲做当考试的，记掉了未？你著要记清楚，伊来工课是做什么的哈？当甲恁讲故事啊。我知道，特别是我们的选区啦，在马西岭油池啦，这个地方哦，真艰苦。你人会知什么代志无？我们总理的选区嘞，我们是来当炮灰的嘞。可是我们不怕当炮灰，我们为了你们，要给你们一个机会，有通选，卖 walk over。你人爱 walk over 卖？我人给你一个机会去竞你人爱选的国会议员，真正会甲你 fight 的国会议员，不是在Parliament区，你看你你放心吗？前2天吼，我去发传单呐，我家己去走去分 flyer 啦吼，真诶去走10几个楼咧，去分 flyer 吼。有一个安迪看到我咧，伊讲一个 flyer 向我看咧，这是 BAB 向伊的 flyer 咧，内面写着什么你知无？ 我甲你讲吼，伊个 flyer 写 UD 5-year Master Plan。我直接互我看咯，伊讲 sorry 啦，我袂使投你吼，我是投恁人吼。当下吼，我的 UD 5-year Plan 吼，我即道有2个 MRD 咧，会无去哦。我听了我真奇怪咧，我举来看，什么 5-year Master Plan， 内边是写什么咧？有2个 MRD 啦，以后要建的吼，就是 Downtown Line near UD， 还有一个叫做 Sungai Kadut MRD， 还有里面还写了要建一些综合的广场啦。还有绿地走廊啊，这安迪看了流嘴烂咧！哇，我这道哎安尼好咧，加5年我爱选 BAB 咧。我本替 BAB 真歹势啊，甲你讲。你知安怎无？这 Master Plan 吼，市政规划蓝图哦，跟你们讲啦，很多年前10几年前已经是 plan 好了诶。你迄台厝徛的地方哦。我爱有几条 MRD 哦，爱有几个 Green Corridor 吼，即款爱开几个 estate、几个 shopping center， 10几年前 plan 好势了。这个 BAB 吼，无物件拿出来练吼，没有政绩，就拿我们这个 5-year Master Plan 呢，拿出来讲是伊人的成绩，将来要做的嘞。我本替真歹势啊，他们要把这个 5-year Master Plan 吼写进史册。名留千史啊！下水，我甲你讲，今日不管是伫点做政府，我是要问我的咱的 Prime Minister Lawrence Wong， 也是今日 BAB 无做政府 ，UD 这2个 MRT 阁有无？伊的绿化走廊阁有无？有啊是无？有诶讲，有诶讲无，啊是有啊是无？有，无管伫点做政府，拢总有，因为这是真侪年前 plan 好诶，所以你莫嫌伊人骗。咱新加坡人吼是真诶是吼，真好骗哦，真诶烦恼啊！啊是吼，罗伦双甲讲吼，莫嫌伊哦，你若听好哦，我问哦，咱。这 budget 放入去的 budget， 爱起这2条 MRD 的 budget， 甲伊的绿化走廊的，伊钱去倒落，甲咱现放咱的新加坡的 budget 啦 ，reserve 去咯，真侪钱的嘛，放倒转啦，伊会使放倒转无？袂使嘛 ，OK？ 所以不管是交通建设，还是什么基础建设，都在很多年以前都已经 plan 好了。所以你们不要担心 ，OK？ 是哪一个政府、哪一个政党起来啊执政是没有问题的。政府，刚才我跟你们解释什么是政府部门，什么是公务员啊，什么是 MP 要做的东西。所以不要把 MP 的工作讲到阿尼大，你改了去 MRT， 我真的是输好，MP 有别改了去 MRT 哦。还有，作为您选区的国会议员，真正的工作是要把人民的诉求带到国会里面去，真正的好好的辩论。可是刚刚跟你们说的哈，我们没有看到几个人在那边辩论啦，哦，都在困啊，无辩哦，累排谈哦，因为很多国会议员啊。他们也在外面做兼职啦，做 company directors 啦。外口的钱较多嘛，好赚嘛，做几十个公司的 company directors 啦，哦，所以无变哦。等来国会开会的时阵，较过夜了嘛，就爱困一晚了啦，较过闲了，伫外口因人真侪 sideline 做无 ，OK？ 所以我想跟你们说的是，我们如果被选进去当你们的国会议员啊，我们的党、我们的议员会全心全意的帮你谋福利，真正的在Parliament里面跟你 fight。你们认为你们选了人民行动党作为你们的国会议员，他们会在你所需要的地方 给你提出方案吗？给你解决问题吗？你能爽的也是爽 BAB， 也叫你 settle 的 problem 无？真正好的 example 啊 ，GST 有甲恁 fight 无 ？bus fare 起了有甲恁讲卖起无？水价起了有甲恁起无？搞到我们什么都涨价嘞，很惨嘞，天天要靠这多龙啦，给我给淡薄包车啦，给两天够咯，真欢喜啊，拍哭啊，谢谢 BAB， 包车照牙 ，complain 照 complain， 我们5年才有一次机会 complain 的嘞，你平时随便隔壁店讲会使啊，你外口讲啊，莫等下着代志吼。啊，你们不要紧啦！如果我们这些名人出去真假了咯，又给你在报纸上说你要 block money 什么。可是这次这是个很好的机会，让大家知道一下发生什么事情啦。所以我们这次给你们一个机会咯。如果你们没有机会选，我们 walk over 了，你们会像 Marine Parade 这样靠北靠不了咯，真难过我也很伤心嘞。那天我听到 Marine Parade walk over 哇，我的心整个我都不懂得怎么讲，很难过，很难过，真的。作为新加坡人，我很难过了，所以现在给你们有机会做选择，希望你们在投票当天做出明确的选择，要选择怎么样的议员来代表你。我再跟大家分享一件事情啦，历届的大选，在总理的选区特别是李显龙那边的我是做昂摩球的啦，他的总理的选区的选票都会90%啦、80%以上的，所以这一次我们这些炮灰啦，真的是不当输的啦炮灰啦，来做炮灰给你们啦，没有关系，我们不怕当炮灰。我是希望通过大家的努力，帮助我们把选票拉得更靠近一点点，别像那输到这么惨啦。当个 deposit 没去啊，那个 elephant 那个 elephant 你们知道那个 elephant 吗？那个给人家我讲话真正也真强一口无 ？Our future 变担心啦，我特别讲 Our future 变担心啊。你看 elephant 还未娶某个嘞，27岁。当然伊的 deposit 没去，呀妈咪没死呀！你看你啊，叫你不要去大选，你去大选啊 ，deposit 没去啊。所以我恳求大家马西里 UD 的选民帮帮我们，别像让输到这么惨，把选票拉近一点点，拜托拜托。还有，我想请问你们你们的国会议员为你们服务的选区，知道你哪一座政府主屋有积水吗？那个走廊有积水、有生蚊子的吗？知道你哪一个电梯有安全隐患的吗？还有知道我们 Woodland 的 Stadium 那边的那个 track jogging track 那个跑道有几个洞吗？你们在那边跑步要小心点不要跌倒了很麻烦这个是 MP 要做的工作了，为民服务。OK 啦，讲老尾一句啦，榴莲的故事给恁听啦。新加坡人喜欢吃榴莲对无？老人王讲无包赢啦，咱真艰苦的 ，BAB fight very hard， 团队党真 strong。我想要讲的伊讲无包赢是咧买同情心咧。我是要讲伊是包价令人啊，榴莲包价 ，OK。所以，请支持我们新加坡民主党，选我们一票，谢谢你们。
Voucher 叫 Q， 投票投民主党 ，OK。Voucher 叫 Q， 免歹势，一块 voucher 去 Q，but 5月3號會去投讓新加坡民主黨一票 ，OK？
So do please vote for SDP on this coming Saturday, 3rd of May. Once again, I bring on stage a smaller version of a bear. We have various versions of this bear, from the small to the medium to the large, and they're all available at the back because all of these merchandise will go a long way to supporting the SDP in our endeavor to get into Parliament to support and represent you guys.
And we also need a lot of polling agents. So one like Marsiling UT polling center, we need about 160 polling agents. The Sembawang team, we need about 150 polling agents. So please sign up as our polling agent, especially the residents of Sembawang and Marsiling UT. Please sign up as a polling agent. To find out more information, please go to our volunteers. And tomorrow, I think there is, the office will be open from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. for you to sign up, and our Commissioner of Oath will be there.
So we do need you to physically make your way down to our office in order for you to do the registration, because there will be a Commissioner of Oaths over there.
记得我们很需要很多的那个投票什么啊？投票
监督员观察员、监督员。
对，我们邀请你，请去我们的后台那边报名。我们很需要大概100多吧，加起来2个那个集选区的话，我们需要大概要300多个。
加减也要300咯。
对，也要300。
I can also share that I also was a volunteer for a polling agent 5 years ago, and that was in Bukit Batok. And it's very touching when you are on duty, representing the team that you really passionately and fervently support, just to see how it resonates with the people coming in, streaming in hour by hour.
Yes, and you know, our polling agent, our candidates are also working very hard. And during the polling days, they will actually be the one going around sending lunch and dinner to all our polling agents, appreciating all our polling agents for their efforts.
Because we take nobody for granted. We really appreciate all of your help.
Yes, it's going to be fun because you get up close and personal in how this whole polling works. And which is why I must remind you all, voting is secret. 投票是秘密的。
It's definitely secret. I think one of our candidates, Arifin, has also made a video to share about how secret it can be.
Yeah, so don't be afraid to vote for us. Don't be afraid to vote our 11 candidates to Parliament on the 3rd of May.
But you know, Jesslyn, I can share with you something that is not so secret. What do you think is one of the favorite hobbies of our next candidate elector? He says that he loves to play mahjong with his parents. Anybody else who here play mahjong, please?
如果你们有3缺1的话，你们可以邀请我们的下一位候选人来加入你们的麻将局。
But for Lawrence Wong, to insinuate that we in the opposition all over are gambling with your lives, that is quite far-fetched kind of fear-mongering, isn't it? So Alec is very much serious about reformative change here for you, for me, and for Singapore.
Everybody, Mr. Alec Tok, SDP, Marsiling UT team.
It's okay. Yeah. 大家好，我是新加坡民主党的卓金言，今天有点感冒，想问问大家，谁是第3次来到我们新加坡民主党的群众大会？谁第3次？哇，有第3次。谁第2次？有没有第2次？谁第1次 ？OK， 很好。OK， 前几天我卖了一个关子，对吗？我跟 前晚的群众大会的观众说，有很多话题，我不谈。我选择了那一次，就是谈一下这一次竞选的游戏规则。今晚我就直接切入正题来谈。从今年1月23号的 CNA 电视新闻播到的头版头条，他说新加坡的生存，头版头条啊 CNA 啊，他说新加坡的生存必须靠外国人，12个字，新加坡的生存必须靠外国人。这是一篇 CNA 新闻报道采访人力部部长陈思龙，访问他后，根据他的话所定下来的头条：新加坡的生存靠外国人。我们新加坡人走过了60年的路程，60年的一党专制，60年一党操作教育政策、经济政策、人口政策，最后得到的结果是什么？是什么？是新加坡的生存必须靠外国人呢。其实，说真的，如果外国人到新加坡的原因是为了增加或补充一下我们劳工的几个行业的短缺，这我可以接受。可是，问题是，我们的政府已经让这些外国人侵入了，让这些外国人占据了各种各样的行业，造成许许多多的我们无法找到工作。让我先澄清一点，我们新加坡民主党不排斥外来的劳工，我们针对的不是他们，我们针对的是政府的外来劳工政策，无限制、无底线、无情的外来劳工政策。他们的薪水那么低，谁会请我们？谁会请我们？结果我们被排除在外，眼睁睁的看着他们占据越来越多的领域，手指拗出不拗進，手指拗出唔拗入啊！我们真的必须问问黄循财总理，你能不能够重新探讨这个问题，改变我们的遭遇，开一道门，让我们有一条生路。好，接下来我们谈谈我们目前开始注意到的心理问题、精神问题。根据我国的心理卫生学院和其他的国际心理卫生组织的统计数字，49%的新加坡人透露， 他们每天持续几个星期感到沉默、犹豫、沮丧。25%说他们焦虑到无法应付日常生活中的事物。27%的年轻人说他们在近期有过自杀的念头。10%还好几次有这种自杀的念头。40%说他们因为感到压力太大，曾经必须向公司请假。70%说上班的压力曾经是使他们感到精疲力尽。在2023年，世界卫生组织的精神健康报告指出，被访的新加坡人透露，他们认为心理健康的问题，年轻人心理健康的问题是我国最严峻的疾病，比癌症和糖尿病还严重。海峡时报认为，年轻人的心理健康问题已经可以算是一种国家的危机啊！这3大挑战：外国人的侵略、就业的短缺和心理健康的衰退，造成了我们前所未有的困境，史无前例的窘境。造成这个局面的有两大因素，生活费提高所带来的冲击和人口无局限增长所带来的密集和密度。我们这个小岛今天已经有190万个外国人在这里工作、生活、谋生。其实有好多新加坡人已经跟我们说，不止190万个外国人。这又造成了几个现象：人多，物价自然提升了；政府必须建造更多祖屋、诊所、医院等等等等，又造成国家费用提高，然后从我们身上增加所得税。简单的说，这些就是人口无限制增加所带来的逆境。我们大家应该劝劝黄循财总理啊，在这选举的期间，告诉我们他心里的那个数目，到底他会让我们的人口增加到700万、900万，还是1000万？请告诉我们，先告诉我们，让我们通过选举，让你们通过你的投票，告诉他，反映给他，你们到底认不认可，同不同意，接不接受？请告诉我们，这个竞选告诉我们，让我们的投票给你我们的答案。 我们新加坡民主党不是提倡把国门关闭、拒绝外国人，不是，我们主张的是，我们一定要有一个限制，有一个怎么保护和担保新加坡人的就业机会的计划。其实我们真的没必要不停地增加人口。世界上有好多国家人口不多，可是在经济和科学的领域都有非常出色的成就，他们的企业也在国际舞台上有惊人的成绩。宜家、Spotify、Volvo 车、Carlsberg、台积电等等等等，都是小国家瑞典、丹麦和台湾的公司。我相信我们也可以。决定胜负的最后不是一个国家的大小，不是人口的多少，而是一个人民的气场。我们的胃口，我们的展望，我们的胆量胜于一切。如果你真的以新加坡为荣，如果你真的想为我们这个小岛、小国家出一份拯救局面的力量，如果你真的愿意迈出挽救目前这个艰苦窘境的这一大步，你必须在下个星期六5月3日发出一个明确的讯号，我们不能走同样的老路了。我们要的是一条我们可以全心全意、毫无犹豫、充满希望的光明前程。路遥知马力，日久见人心。我们新加坡民主党已经过了好多年的煎熬，无数的波折，特有的提炼，我们今天已经长力、长壮、长强了。跟着我们走，跟着我们一起走，勇敢向前，抛开恐惧，把你的票投给我们，投给徐顺全，投给新加坡民主党。谢谢。
SDP
SDP SDP。
朋友们，我希望你们冷静一下，看看你周围的新加坡人，你们会留意到，你看到的很多三代同堂一起来这个群众大会，你们有没有留意到？转身看看你周围今天来群众大会的居民，今天来群众大会的朋友。
And so if you look left, you look right, you look behind and all around, what do you see?
Yes, you see SDP, you see 3 generations of families coming, but we must ask ourselves, why? 为什么？为什么我们有这些三代同堂的那些居民家人一起来？
Why are there children even here? Why are there elderly braving the difficulties just to come here, squeeze together with everybody, just to soak in the atmosphere only?
No. 因为他们跟我们每个人一样，我们都很担心生活费的一直的上涨，我们民不聊生。
Simply because we are all the same, isn't it? We face the same issues of cost of living. We face the same issues of weddings and marriages. We face the same issues of housing, isn't it?
但这些问题不是那些 PAP 的人能了解的。
And so these are issues that men in ivory towers can't possibly imagine. Don't you think so?
So, 我们呼吁你们5月3号去了那个投票站。呀，对，
投票也是一种投诉，对不对？
投给民主党就是证明给他们看，你们在投诉他们没有做好他们的本分，没有做好 represent 我们新加坡人的本分。
And so if they keep saying that we are a complaining society, why don't we show them what kind of complaint we are capable of making? Yeah?
请买徐顺全的一本书，支持徐顺全，把它送入国会。
And once again, there is more merchandise at the back, at the cartentages over there. I have over here even just a small little clapper because I don't have enough hands to clap. So I need this, and I believe a lot of you may need this as well as you make more noise tonight.
And now, I leave it to you to introduce our next speaker.
你帮我拿一下。
好。
So the next speaker coming up on stage is James Gomez. James just shared with me backstage. Some of you already know him over there. James says he has been studying intently this very famous Chinese painting of 8 horses. 八骏图. Anybody of you know the 8 horses? Well, some of you don't know. But some of you may have seen them before in those grand officers. Maybe some of the officers that belong to the white. Yeah, because you know, somebody from the white, Mr. OYK, is said that he's bringing his horses down to Sembawang GRC. What do you think about that? And so he wants to know how, as an inferior human being, we can squeeze with these royal horses in an already cramped Sembawang. What do you think of that again? But on a more serious note, these horses actually mirror the aspirations that the SDP has for all of you, from life and career, from children and health, personal development, marriage, education, and happiness. And do you know, Jaslyn, what the red horse stands for? Anybody else here knows? Ang Bei Tio. The red horse stands for strength and courage. So before we invite the next candidate on stage, can you all chant together with me? Bo Bei Zhou! Bo Bei Zhou!
Dr. James Gomez.
Lương An Tài Kê, Hô Bồ, Chà Ba Bề, Wow Chê Tài Chê Ai Cả Lương An Con, SDP, Bồ Bê Chào, SDP, Bồ Bê Chào, có lại SDP, Bồ Bê Chào. You come to Sembawang, you bring the horses, SDP, Bồ Bê Chào. Sembawang residents, friends, neighbors, thank you for being here today. Today, I ask you to draw a line between what the PAP calls town development versus what you really want. A line between town development decisions made for you versus decisions made by you. A line between the PAP passing off and politicizing national development plans for self-promotion and electioneering purposes versus genuine ground-up ideas that put the people of Sembawang and Singaporeans first. With this beginning, the Sembawang GRC team is proud to launch tonight, the Singapore Democratic Sembawang Town GRC Plan. The plan will act as a nucleus calibrated through town hall discussions with you and also serve as an outline for all the other constituencies in SDP's Northern Strategy. We call the plan Putting the Heart in the Heartland. Show me your heart. Show me your heart. The implementation of the plan is our commitment to you. Community-driven vision that reimagines how we live, work, connect, and care for one another in this place we all call home. But for too long, planning in Sembawang has not been done with us. It has been done to us. Just before the elections, every elections, we see the PAP mentioning the opening of new MRT stations. They will talk about national HDB upgrading plans. They will highlight elements of the URA master plan. All of these and other national plans are done to create an impression that it's the PAP that is doing all this, with a view for claiming credit. Nothing can be further from the truth. Meanwhile, in the last two elections, Sembawang residents have continued to face a set of unresolved issues. From cluttered corridors and stairwells, water runoffs and flooding caused by heavy rains, you know this, amenities development being unresponsive to the changing demographics of Sembawang, looking out for the needs of the elderly, young people, and young families, overcrowding in common areas such as around MRT trains and very, very dirty public toilets. And the list goes on. These ignored concerns have made neighborhoods in Sembawang feel like concrete columns to which people scurry to after a hard day's work and caregiving responsibilities to be by themselves without the support of a wider community. It's a pity that the PAP town management has turned Sembawang into this. With the SDP, there is a better way forward. A way that puts people, not the self-centered PAP politics of re-election, at the heart of town development. The SDP's way, or we like to call it the people's way, recognizes that infrastructure alone, without the inclusion of the community or the heart, is meaningless. For SDP, a town is more than concrete and corridors. It's about community, dignity, and shared purpose. So what are we proposing? First, we are going to fix the basics. things that have been broken, delayed, or promised for years without action. You should not still be walking in rain because sheltered pathways that were in the pipeline 5 years ago are still in the pipeline. You should not be gathering at temporary bus stops that continue to be temporary. Flood-prone areas, especially near playgrounds, walkways, and lift landings, how dangerous is that, should not be ponding every time there is rain. Rains should not be coming into your corridor, hitting your door and entrance, and seeping into your home. You not be subjected to overcrowded feeder buses during peak times. Last mile connectivity should not still be an afterthought in 2025. These are not new issues. These are just unresolved ones, ignored by PAP's Aljunied abandoning and Sembawang parachuting Ong Ye Kang and his team. By electing SDP MPs, you will have these issues resolved firmly. Your SDP MPs will also organize regular town hall meetings to gather your feedback, even if there are difficult requests, even if you are difficulty in sharing these requests, we will do our best to resolve them. We will not be like Ong Ye Kang, ignoring you, avoiding you, just because you raise difficult concerns. The SDP town plan is based on the feedback of Sembawang residents. It is now my pleasure to present the following ideas from the residents. 1, introduce a bike management storage system that will keep your bicycles secure and sheltered from the weather. It will be integrated with a bicycle care service to ensure your bicycles are always in good working order and safe. 2, we will introduce under the block storage spaces to encourage corridors and stairwells to be kept clutter-free and comfortable for passage. The storage facilities can also include lockers to receive your online packages. 3, we will create co-working spaces with Wi-Fi, air conditioning, and ample sitting area, whether it's for quiet study, new ways of working, or for small groups of discussion, so that you can be comfortable and enjoy the new ways of studying, learning, and collaborating together. 4, we will identify and install more sitting areas in accessible locations, armrests, backrests, for added support, ramps, and shelters, especially to help our elderlies have a comfortable rest stop and be out in the open. 5, we will push for lifts on all major overhead bridges that still lack them. Seniors, persons with disabilities, or parents with strollers will particularly see and enjoy the benefits of this suggestion. 6, we will open mindfulness and wellness centers for youth and working adults alike, so you can find the support when you have stress. These spaces will serve as a welcoming environment where people can go, connect, reflect, and feel heard. 7, and I've only got 3 more. We will launch community and nature mapping and documenting projects of green spaces in Sembawang. This is to ensure that the area's natural environment is not eroded by unchecked development and careless planning. 8, we will demand action from the relevant agencies to keep our coastal waters clean. They are very highly polluted now. We will track these agencies, monitor the pollution levels in the water, and get them to hold accountable those who pollute our clean waters. Last but not least, we will support those who work to care for our stray cats, dogs, and other wildlife. We will provide microchipping initiatives, a community care fund, animal welfare, education, and campaigns, and promote empathy and coexistence with our nature, animals, and fellow human beings. A reminder, all these proposals came from you, the residents, and have one simple principle, that a town must be people-centric, that a town belongs to its residents, not to the PAP real estate political portfolio. Unlike Ong Ye Kang, who just before this election tried to pass off the URA master plan for Sembawang as the PAP's, the SDP does not take national or public project, slap a SDP label on it, and call it its own. No, we don't do that. We believe in real participation, where the town plan is a product of you, the residents. That's why the SDP will organize regular town halls across all our constituency in the Northern Strategy. These town halls will be an opportunity for residents to voice ideas and provide feedback to your SDP MPs, so that the SDP MPs can implement a plan that the people really want. If you want a town plan and MPs that will work for you, vote SDP. Vote SDP MPs. Once again, the Sembawang GRC team is pleased to officially launch the SDP Sembawang GRC Town Plan, putting your heart in the heartland. A plan for you, a plan by you. It is just SDP's pleasure and honor to facilitate this for you. Once again, SDP, Bo Bei Chao! SDP, Bo Bei Chao! SDP, Bo Bei Chao!
居民们，你们热吗？我们后台有这个 Danny the Bear 的那个扇子，记得要去买哦。OK，Uncle， 我看到你，会记杯哈，会记杯哈。
So if you're feeling a little bit hot, you can also purchase for yourself one of these fans from, once again, our tentagers at the back. And all these will go very much into funding the team. The next candidate coming up on stage will be Brian. Very quickly introducing Brian. He is an ardent supporter of the national football team of Singapore, because as opposed to some who only appear to take selfies with our national athletes only when they win, Brian has been supporting the national football team through its downs and ups. And so here he is pledging to do the same for all of you in Sembawang GRC.
Mr. Brian Lim.
Dear residents of Sembawang West, supporters of the SDP, ladies and gentlemen, for the sake of those who are watching at home, let's make some noise! My friends, for too long, we've been told to keep our heads down, to stay silent, and accept things as they are. But let me ask you, is this the Singapore we dream of? A Singapore where hard work doesn't guarantee a home. A Singapore where the elderly worry about healthcare costs. A Singapore where our children's future is weighed down by debt before they even start their careers. My friends, the time has come for real change. The time has come for you to draw courage over comfort, conviction over convenience, for a leader who will fight tooth and nail for your rights. And that leader is none other than Dr. Chee Soon Juan. For 30 years, Dr. Chee has stood up when others have remained silent. He has spoken nothing but the truth when others have whispered in corners. Do you know? He holds an unofficial Guinness Book of Records to have been sued by 3 former prime ministers. Mr. Lee Kuan Yew calls him a congenital liar. Is that right? Mr. Goh Chok Tong labels him as a political gangster. Do you agree with him? Mr. Lee Hsien Loong, like his father, says he's a serial liar. Is that true? They bankrupted him, they jeered him, they tried to silence him. They call him every name in the book: gangster, liar, troublemaker. But why, my friends? Why does the PAP do that? You're right, because he's the man they fear. Fear not for himself, but for your awakening. Dear residents of Sembawang West, it's time to show them. It's time for you to choose courage, not fear. Dr. Chee has endured persecution, sacrifice, and hardship. Not for himself, but for you, for us, for Singapore! Ask yourselves, my friends, who truly understands the struggles of the everyday Singaporean? Who has walked in your shoes, felt the weight of rising costs, the stress of healthcare bills, the fear of an uncertain future? Certainly not the multi-millionaire ministers whose gardens are bigger than your house. Certainly not a minister who tells you not to complain about $5 bowl of one-time meat. My friends, Dr. Chee doesn't just talk, he lives it. He doesn't just promise, he fights for it. While others has chosen the easy path, Dr. Chi has chosen the right path. He doesn't just talk about justice, he fights for it. He doesn't complain about inequality, he stands against it. And most importantly, he doesn't just dream of democracy, he sacrifices for it. The PAP will tell you, hey guys, be grateful, stay quiet, don't rock the boat. You know what they actually mean? They actually mean that don't rock their cruiser so that they can continue to collect their big fat salaries while you scrape the bottom of your barrel. My friends, now let me ask you, does gratitude mean silence? Does loyalty mean blind obedience? Do you still want white sheep in parliament who vote collectively to increase the GST, not once but twice? Do you still want white sheep benchers who fall asleep in parliament because there's no need to debate with their own kind? Dear friends, let me ask you some honest questions. Who speaks up for you in parliament today? When prices go up, who fights for you? When jobs are uncertain, who stands with you? When your concerns are ignored, who shouts for you? The PAP MPs? They told the party line, they nod, they smile, they stay silent, and they even sleep. But Dr. Chi, he roars. When he gets to parliament, he will challenge the wasteful spending. He will demand affordable health care. He will fight for your rights, not their privileges. I urge the residents of Sembawang West to vote for Dr. Chi, who will be that lion-hearted MP who will roar for justice, for fairness, for your rights. Dr. Chi doesn't want your fear. He wants your hope. He doesn't want your submission. He wants your strength. In fact, he wants to carry your hopes, dreams, and aspirations into parliament. We need an MP who doesn't just show up at election time, but shows up every day for you. We don't need MPs who hand out ice cream and fish before the elections, but an MP who hands you back your dignity. My friends, most importantly, we need an MP who doesn't serve the system, but serves the people. My friends, this election is not just about votes. It's about voices. Your voice, your family's voice, the voice of the hawker, the cleaner, the retiree, the young graduate struggling to buy a house. This election is about hope. Hope for the man on the streets who is struggling with the rising cost of living. Hope for the children who are suffering from the mental stress. Hope for the elderly who cannot retire in comfort. So it's time to say, Enough is enough. Cukuplah. We don't need more yes men in parliament. We need a man who will say yes to you. Residents of Sembawang West, the choice is clear. If one MP will work for you, not just watch you struggle, vote for Dr. Chee Soon-juan. If one MP who fights in parliament like a tiger, not sleep like a puppet, vote for Dr. Chee Soon-juan. If you want to live with dignity and thrive, not just survive, vote for Dr. Chee Soon-juan. My friends, if you believe that Singapore deserves better, that you will deserve better, then stand with me, stand with Dr. Chee, and let's make history together on May the 3rd. My friends, the future starts now. The power is in your hands. Let's bring real change to Sembawang West. Let's bring real change to Singapore. Dr. Chee Soon-juan, your voice, your fighter, your MP. On May the 3rd, vote for courage, vote for change. Thank you, everyone.
SDP.
SDP.
Dr. Chee.
Dr. Chee.
SDP. Dr. Chee.
Now, Jocelyn, Brian just now mentioned about someone whose garden is bigger than our house. That's not exactly correct. It's actually bigger than 3 of this field that we are all here squeezed together, isn't it? But since we're all here already together, let us be part of this sea of red as we pass our balls of hope to you for a better future across and with everybody.
Hey, help us roll our ball, roll our 11 candidates to Parliament.
And so that we have all your hands as part of one Singapore.
Those holding the flag, please be careful, don't burst our...
Yeah, do avoid puncturing it with your sharp objects, like your flagpoles.
Yes, roll our ball, roll our 11 candidates to Parliament.
By the end of tonight, everybody's hands must have touched the balls.
Ang quay hai lang, tong ye kiu, u ko ling ho, medi tiêu be piu le. Dai ki tong ye kiu. Okay, we need some instruction. The ball go from behind, come back to the front.
Don't pass the ball to the school over there. We cannot take it out. Sorry, what?
So you say that's why they're having a lot of fun.
Make sure, as I said, everyone's hand should have at least touched the ball once, maybe twice, multiple times.
Touch the ball, roll the ball, and roll our 11 candidates to Parliament on the 3rd of May. Remember, your vote is secret. Don't be afraid to vote for SDP.
And at the same time, since some of you already are whipping out your phones, feel free to take selfies with a quick snap of the ball coming near to you.
Thank you everyone for your cooperation. We shall now introduce our next speaker.
However, Jaslyn, the next speaker needs no introduction. Every single day, videos and videos of him, interviews online as well. Okay, so for the balls as well, I was told, you can pass the balls around, but eventually it has to end somewhere at the back.
Okay.
So that our staff will come and help to collect.
Okay, now, We need all your scream, all your whistle, because he's also another candidate that needs to be in Parliament.
Dr. Paul Tamboya!
Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here tonight to speak with you, and in particular, in support of our candidate for Sembawang West SMC, Dr. Chee Soon Juan. I do not need to tell you, but he's a truly unique individual. He's probably one of only 2 politicians in Singapore who can be described as conviction politicians. I'll be honest, the rest of us are actually probably a bit more of a pragmatic politicians. The other one is Dr. Chan Cheng Bok, whose 85th birthday I had the privilege of celebrating this morning in Teban Gardens. Exactly. He wished for PSP in Parliament and SDP in Parliament. Very few of us will want to be walking the ground trying to persuade people to vote for us when we're 85 years old, after a long career as an MP, as a doctor, and a businessman. But Dr. Chee's career has had a very different trajectory. Whoa, careful. Don't knock off the... Okay, this way. Yeah, thank you. So Dr. Chee's career has had a very different trajectory. He got his PhD in neuropsychology from one of the top universities in the United States and returned and very quickly built up a reputation in the field. My aunt, who was an educational psychologist herself and was active in the profession, spoke very highly of him all the way into her 80s. Unfortunately for him, unfortunately for the discipline, but fortunately for Singaporeans, in 1992, Dr. Chee decided to get involved in politics. Of course, the rest is history. He was caught up in some of the changes in the SDP, which you can read about in Loh Koh Young's book, that has been distorted completely by the PAP in this pre-social media era. And there were many people, including many of my family and friends, who thought that Dr. Chee was some crazy guy. In 2013, I remember, I brought my wife for lunch with Dr. Chee, and we went to the Penang place in 1 North. And I'll never forget this. As I was leaving the place, my wife said to me, "He's a normal person." I said, "Of course he's a normal person." But she said, if you believe what the PAP politicians tell you and what the media tells you, you think he's a psychopath. For many Singaporeans, though, the turning point was the general election in 2015. That was when Soon Juan was finally allowed to speak to the public unfiltered. I remember the most striking moment was the rally at Commonwealth when he spoke in 4 languages and 3 dialects. You know, he hadn't been allowed to speak for almost 10 years, so that's why he just had to let go. 2 images that stick to my mind were, before the general election, he was standing outside a MRT station selling his books, and people crossed by on the other side. During the general election, in one of the rallies, there were people who queued up for 300 meters all the way around this field just to get him to sign the book. Some of them waited 1.5 hours. What made the difference? I think it was social media, because that gave Singaporeans a chance to get the word out that Dr. Chi truly believes in a better Singapore for everyone. He also has the personality and the talent to make that happen, and hopefully on May the 3rd, you residents of Sembawang West will give him a chance to prove this through your votes. Now, I would like to address some of the issues brought up by the PAP in the last couple of days. First of all, there's this politician who abandoned Aljunied for Sembawang, and then he decided to stop talking about his colleagues who abandoned Punggol for Tampines, abandoned Aljunied for Bukit Batok, abandoned Aljunied again for Ang Mo Kio, abandoned Choa Chu Kang for Punggol, and so on and so forth. I think you know who I'm talking about. So he said he wants to move on. You know, that's what the PAP says when they got nothing more to say. They just want to move on to the next topic, right? And get to the real issues of the campaign. There's another issue that was brought up this morning, and that was the issue of foreign interference. And I want to make it very clear, the SDP is totally against any kind of foreign interference in elections in Singapore. You know, this was brought up recently when a foreigner living in Singapore wrote an article which might have an impact on the foreign affairs in Singapore. And nobody would have thought anything of this article until it was actually highlighted by the wife of our senior minister. Now, she is a very powerful person, one of the most powerful people in the world, powerful women in the world. And in fact, she's so powerful that none of us knows her salary. So, while we believe that foreigners are free to write about their opinions and perspectives about Singapore, they should not try to interfere in the domestic and foreign affairs of our country. The Prime Minister also called for an end to identity politics and said that we should not be a divided people. I totally agree with that. In fact, in a recent video, I called for the CMIO kind of classification to be scrapped. It's totally meaningless when 1 in 5 Singaporeans is married to someone from a different race, including me. It was actually introduced by the colonial authorities as a means to divide and rule the people of Singapore. Terrible, right? It is also exclusionary because it excludes certain communities like the Arabs, the Armenians, and the Jews who have contributed significantly to Singapore's history and current present. The ethnic self-help groups are also unnecessarily divisive, and they lead to duplication and disproportionate allocation of resources. It is high time for the PM to walk the talk and get rid of the CMIO classification. Cherian George put it very well as he explained how the so-called fault lines in Singapore society are generally portrayed as being between the people, the different ethnic groups, the different religious groups, etc., rather than between the ruler and the ruled. And that is where the true fault lines really are. And this happened during the colonial era and has continued during the PAP era. More importantly, there have been major issues raised by the PAP about the living wage proposals made by the SDP and other parties. Former senior civil servant Jeffrey Xiao called the minimum wage a political rather than a practical solution. And he preferred the so-called progressive wage model, which gives certain workers the right to a basic wage, provided they meet certain strict criteria. Ms. Gan Xiaohuang said that the minimum wage is an easy way out. I'm not so sure why the PAP is so enamored of complicated solutions. But frankly, having a guaranteed living wage, no matter what people do, is one sure way to ensure that a job in Singapore provides at least the basic essentials for our families. It also ensures that there's fair competition with foreigners for jobs, and that migrant workers are not exploited simply because they're willing to work for lower wages. Just last year, we heard about a bus company that was offering up to $5,000 as starting pay for bus drivers. And you know what? They attracted 1,300 Singaporeans to apply for 20 to 30 jobs. So that just proves that Singaporeans are not picky. We just want a job that provides a living wage that can support our families. The SDP has campaigned for a living wage for the last 20 years. We've been told that it will cause widespread unemployment. But actually, you know what? The PAP has employed the progressive wage model, which is actually a minimum wage in disguise. But there has not been widespread unemployment. So tonight, for the bulk of my message, I'm going to talk to you about the third pillar of SDP's manifesto, which is respect for our planet. So T is taxes, H is healthcare, R is respect for our planet. And this refers to climate change. Many people think that climate change is some airy-fairy idea dreamed up by academics trying to preserve their jobs. But the reality is that climate change is happening around us, and we cannot deny it, even if we try to. Last year, 2024, was the hottest year on record in Singapore since they started recording temperatures. It tied with one of the earlier years in this century. And this effect of climate change is quite significant. In my own field, rises in temperature around us, environmental temperature, can increase dangers to human health. For example, cold-blooded insects such as mosquitoes can live longer and can bite us more and spread diseases when it's only 1 or 2 degrees hotter than usual. While the exact contribution of human efforts and human activity to climate change is debatable, there is no question that if you continue to burn fossil fuels, you are literally adding fuel to the fire that's burning our planet. So in our climate change paper, we call on the government to accelerate the transition from fossil fuels to renewable energy. And this should be done in a long-term and sustainable way through stopping the investment in coal-burning facilities, which unfortunately is still going on with the recent funding of a coal-fired nickel plant in a neighboring country. We also call for an accelerated transition for Singapore from a heavily oil and gas dependent economy to one which becomes a regional leader in renewables. We have the technology, we have the human capital, that's you, to make this possible. Now, while investments in the National Research Foundation led by former DPM Heng Swee Keat are commendable, much more needs to be done. And it needs to be done from a ground up rather than a top-down approach. And this is in line with our long-standing history of calling for basic human rights, freedom of expression, which recognize the rights of every individual and not just the wealthy and elite. So we call for empowering local communities to take the initiative, develop and promote the use of renewable energy. We also call for the preservation of our green spaces. There are rewilding efforts which are underway, but the relentless quest by the PAP to increase our population to some mysterious target which they refuse to say is caused the destruction of the Tengah forest, the destruction of significant parts of the Clementi and Dover forests, and even the large swathes of the Kranji forest just nearby. So removing the green lungs of the city will have an adverse effect, not just on the air that we breathe, but also on our mental health and well-being. So we call for a moratorium on all forest cutting activity, including the secondary forest, as well as for the environmental impact analysis to be taken seriously. We have only one planet and one tiny island nation. We need to work together as one people, regardless of race, language, or religion, to protect what we have been given, to be good stewards of what we have, to ensure that we do not allow the destructive forces of the fossil fuel industry to literally consume us to death. We owe it to future generations. Many of us think that all these things will happen after we're long gone. But it is the children to whom the future belongs. That is certainly not the Singaporean way, and it is definitely not the SDP way, as we want a Singapore where everyone can thrive, and babies can grow up in a world not just surviving the coming climate crisis, but thriving. Vote for change. Vote for the SDP. Thank you.
Dr. Paul. You know,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Paul reminded us that it was Dr. Tan Cheng Bok's birthday today. Yes. So why not you join us? Let's give Dr. Tan a gift. We don't allow PAP to divide and rule. We are friends with our fellow opposition. So join me. Let's give Dr. Tan Cheng Bok a gift by joining us and wish him happy birthday. Join me. Come on.
Happy birthday, Dr. Tan! Happy birthday! Happy birthday!
Thank you very much.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, once again, at the end of today also, the tentages will be still available. I will implore you to purchase any of our merchandise, including books like this, stating, "It starts with a dream." And it always starts with a dream, but it always ends in reality for all of us. And I hope by the 3rd of May, we all will see the kind of reality that we want to see, isn't it?
And this book, the author will be our next speaker.
And so the man, the people's champion, Dr. Chee Soon Juan，
三巴旺西的选民，我们在这里要你们用你们最大的欢呼声，把我们的徐顺全送入国会，让他在国会替你们发言。
Dr. Chee， Dr. Chee，
Dr. Chee， Dr. Chee。
Thank you, everybody. 谢谢大家 ，Thank you so much. 首先，我想用一些华语来跟你们谈一谈，好不好？今天早上我在 Woodland Smart 的时候，跟有去那个 Kampong Admiralty 碰到你们，跟你们讲说，今天晚上我们群众大会会在这里。我也是跟你们讲说，我会用一些中文、华语来跟你们讲一讲，好不好？我以前中文讲了，大家讲的 No 3 No 4， 在学校的时候，英华学校华文都念了7、8招，每次都不及格，拿了 F。但回到家里的时候，妈妈就骂说为什么拿到 F， 我就跟她讲 F is for fantastic， 所以没有问题吧哈。我还记得我在 Secondary 4的时候口试啊，老师问我们就说你看的杂志是什么？哪一个杂志？那我就看到了老师这样，老师什么是叫杂志啊？啊，然后就跑去跑去美国。念书，美国在念书的时候就认识我现在太太。问题说她刚开始的时候他们都是台湾人，啊，那开始的讲的咿咿啊啊讲不通，他们就没有办法，就想要认识他就没有办法。那回来到新加坡的时候，我参加民主党的时候，有一位，他名字叫王汉照。他以前是我们的副主席，党的副主席。跟他聊天的时候，他有教我很多政治的东西，然后也是有 跟他学过来一些政治的问题。我们最重要的，在这个大选的时候，最重要的一点，最关心的是我们的生活费。我也是用一点福建话，有时候中文讲的不是很好，用那部福建话来跟你们讲讲那部好。我们最关心的是我们的生活费，你们今天的起价，样样东西都在起价，对不对？你现在去咖啡店，你一杯咖啡以前是9毛1块，现在有没有快4、快5？啊，你去省穷，你去 NTUC， 你买了一盒那个蛋，以前就是3块多，变成6块多。现在你买那个美基的牛奶，以前我知道是大概是6块钱，现在起到快要7块。然后没有关系 ，Mr. Lawrence Wong 总理他跟我们讲说，你们不怕，我会给你们 CDC voucher， 送你们礼物。你们开玩笑？你这个 CDC voucher 哪里够用？还有呢，他送我们礼物啊！你要送我们礼物，你要用自己的钱嘛，你用自己的钱啊，你咪要我人的钱啊，讲了啊，好人送了 present。然后我们也是知道，说现在那水费啊也是起价。去年跟今年刚刚上个月，你的水又在起了，一共有起到18%。去年每一年呢，从2018年到去年，我们的车费 bus MRT fares 一直在起。你的车油，你们开车的已经知道，2021年的时候起了23%。你的电 gas 也是在起。每一样东西，你如果是有小孩子，你们知道念大学 NUS、NTU、SMU， 每个他们住的地方 dormitories 也是在起。你扫头开率 Town Council 的费也是在起，变本所也是起给，物件都起个了，连 GST 也是给人起7%，起个9%。按了黄总理来跟我们讲，说我会送你们礼物，这个不是像他把我们的脚跟他弄断，然后给我们那个轮椅，说我送给你坐。我最关心的就是阿伯阿姆，你们拿到这个 CDC voucher， 你们要会想，不要让 PAP 相信 PAP 投他们的票。你们也是要想到你们的孩子、你们的孙子，他们的生活压力也是很高。想说，现在我们年轻的一代，他们的心理健康的问题也是很大。我跟你们讲27%，差不多1/4的年轻的人，他们说前几个月他们有感觉到压力很大，他们有想到要自杀。所以你们要投票这次的时候，你们要好好去考虑，不要只是为了 PAP 为了政府送给我们 CD voucher， 我们就要投他们的票，我们要会好好的想，好不好？另外一件事，就是我要跟你们提出来的，就是王以康先生一直讲说我是从 Bukit Batok 跳来这边三巴旺西，我要跟他讲一句话 ，Mr. Wang， 你好势无？ 我们现在的问题这么大，生活费、医药费、车费，样样东西都这么问题这么大，你不要讲，你不要提出来跟选民讲，你还要讲到我不给巴豆以前的事情。啊，那你呢？啊，你从那个 originate 跳来这边Sembawang，你说什么？他说哦 ，because of strategy。PAP 做的就是 strategy， 反对党做的就是错误。啊，你们广东人不是讲说有冇搞錯？說話冇亂講嘛，對不對？所以我們這件事，我們真的要小心。啊，在這裡的時候，我們這個大選事情真的很，我們的問題就是很大。我想跟你們講的，就是說，你們下個星期六要去投票的時候，你們真的要考慮，不要一直去聽 PAP 的話。如果你們有鄰居，你們有朋友們，跟他們講一講，說很重要這次的大選。如果我們這樣繼續下去，我們的問題會更多，會更大。你們要好好去想，下個星期六來投我們的票，投民主黨的票。謝謝你們 ，Thank you。
All right, ladies and gentlemen, a slight technical difficulty, but give us a few minutes to sort it out. Once again, can we give a cheer for the G?
Turn on. SDP. Dr. Chi. SDP.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, give us a few seconds just to adjust the teleprompter. But meanwhile, I just want to implore you, because I see already a half sea of red outside there. However, tomorrow, we would like to see more red from you guys. Shall we do that tomorrow, please?
对，记得穿你们的红衣来我们的群众大会。好，红红袂害人哦。明天在三大。
It's at the Sun Plaza Hard Court, just outside the Sun Plaza. Yeah, so at the same time, while you are waiting, some of you perhaps are already very near the tentage over there. So perhaps you might like to scoot over there, purchase some merchandise that can help once again the SDP team for our fundraising campaign.
And also, please buy a book or two, Dr. Chi books, to show your support to him. And again, we need volunteers for polling agent. Okay, please sign up for polling agent. And now we will give the stage to Dr. Chi.
Once again, Dr. Chi!
Thank you again, one and all. Now, before they announced the boundaries in this election, many people told me that Bukit Batok would not exist as an SMC. It would be redrawn into a GRC. I thought to myself at that time that there was a possibility, just a possibility. But nonetheless, I was hoping that this wouldn't happen. Looking back, I guess it was just wishful thinking. I was in a dilemma. I knew that the harder I worked in Bukit Batok, the greater the likelihood that it would disappear into a GRC. But I could not. I could not give my best in Bukit Batok. And so in the years in between elections, I continued to work there. No regrets, absolutely none. But when the new boundaries, thank you. But when the new boundaries were announced last month, I remember it was on a Tuesday. Brian called me up at 2 o'clock and said, Dr. Chi, you know they're going to be releasing the report in Parliament at 3 o'clock. And so I waited. At precisely 3 o'clock, I went to the website. My eyes went straight to the list and I was looking for Bukit Batok SMC, and sure enough, it was no longer. After 9 years, immersing myself and establishing a bond with the community there, I'd be lying if I told you that I didn't feel the pain of seeing the constituency disappear. Through the years, I had fought for the residents on municipal issues, mainly to do with safety matters that I found absolutely appalling. For example, electrical boxes on lampposts were rusted out and open with wires exposed. And the worst part was that these lampposts were situated right next to the playground. I also facilitated a petition among residents to construct a footpath. Otherwise, pedestrians would have to walk on the road itself, which posed obvious dangers. Sure enough, on a Sunday morning, I went down where people were walking to the market, and there was a grandmother holding the hand of a little girl, and they were walking along the road. A car came along and stopped just in time. The grandmother got a fright and pulled the little girl away. I caught this all on camera. It's on my Facebook. But the most egregious case was a fire that broke out in 2019 in one of the flats. It happened in the middle of the night. I visited the block early the following morning, and when the residents saw me, the first thing they said to me was, from afar, they shouted to me, "Bo zui ya, bo zui ya." No water, no water. So I went up to the floor where the fire had broken out, 13th floor, and discovered that the hose reel cabinet was padlocked. A resident had broken the lock, but when they pulled out the hose, there was no water. As a result, the fire raged on, and the occupants in that flat, 3 of them, one Amma, Akong, and the son, who was grown-up son. The fire got so bad, they had to climb out through the kitchen window. On the 13th floor, they perched themselves on the outside of the flat. The fire engine came, SCDF engine came, raised the ladder and brought them down. But the mother couldn't come out. She stayed in the flat and she died. I wrote to the Jurong Clementi Town Council to ask for answers. SCDF subsequently conducted an investigation and determined that the safety codes were indeed violated, were broken. After several days, the PAP MP there, Mr. Murali Pillai, finally came out to apologize over the incident. And it turned out that the host real cabinet was padlocked because they didn't want it to be vandalized. And the town council staff had failed to turn the water back on after some washing operation. The surviving family member then got in touch with me and was interested in engaging a lawyer to see what could be done. And so I found him a lawyer. But when I replied to him to tell him who to contact, he didn't reply me anymore. As the years went by, my team and I got more and more involved in the community in Bukit Batok, and we rented a small office space on top of one of the blocks above McDonald's. We organized dinners and get-togethers, conducted holiday activities for students, held enrichment classes for needy children, gave out bursaries to lower-income families, and even got a sponsor to build a wheelchair access ramp for an elderly resident. None of the money came from public funds. We raised all the money ourselves to conduct these activities. Everything I did, everything my team conducted through the years are chronicled in my Facebook for all to witness. It was 9 years of painstaking hard work. Then, without explanation, they arbitrarily took everything that I had worked for. It went up in a political fire that afternoon. I was helpless. I could only watch as I saw all my work going up in flames. Tell me, my friends, if you were me, how would you feel? So you can imagine how I felt when Mr. Ong Yi Kung and Ms. Poli San asked me to explain why I abandoned Bukit Batok. You don't work at a place for nearly a decade, put in your heart and your soul, and not feel it when they rip it from under you. But the truth is, I have not left Bukit Batok. Part of me is still there and will always be there. I know every block, every coffee shop, every basketball court there. I think I know Bukit Batok even better than Mr. Murali himself. Mr. Ong and Ms. Po knew full well that Bukit Batok SMC had been eradicated, and yet they thought nothing of taking these cheap shots at me. And yesterday, Mr. Alex Yam has jumped into the fray and piled it on, saying that I had broken my promise. And then, just to find it curious, Mr. Ong, who is in Sembawang GRC, and Mr. Yam, who is in Marsiling UT, are so interested in coming to contest in Sembawang West with Ms. Po. But in all seriousness, I asked the three of them to stop this nonsense. Don't let's sink into gutter politics again, please. You're all better than that. Elections are a time when parties present their policies and platforms and then persuade the people for support. Sure, we'll criticize each other, but we criticize each other's ideas and policies, not persons. In all my years of politics, I have stayed away from engaging in personal attacks against my opponents. I didn't do it with Mr. Murali in Bukit Batok, and I don't intend to start now with Ms. Po. When I first bumped into Ms. Paul Lisan at Woodlands Mart, we greeted each other and we exchanged pleasantries. She came across as rather affable, and that impression hasn't changed. I may disagree with her on her stance on certain issues, but I don't let that disagreement stray into my views of her as a person. And so I was quite surprised when she made those remarks about me, questioning my sincerity, saying that I spent only 1 month in Sembawang West and that I hadn't done, quote, unquote, real work in the constituency. This is hitting below the belt and unworthy of a good election contest. Why didn't she say the same about a colleague when he left Aljunied to come to Sembawang? Not to mention some of the others who jumped from the east to the west and then back again. And there's another side to this type of campaigning. Ladies and gentlemen, younger Singaporeans, many of whom are youths and may not be able to vote yet, but they are watching. When they see one side burning down the house of their opponent and then accuse him of running away, how do you explain to them that moral values matter? When these youths run for councillors or prefects or student leaders, is the message to them, do anything, say anything to get elected? What's the point of having moral education then? How do MPs project moral leadership and be role models for these young people? It is that kind of silliness that puts people off politics. Again, I urge Mr. Ong, Mr. Yam, Ms. Po to have some respect for the electoral process and to demonstrate the decorum and ethical rectitude befitting of a general election. I want to ask them to turn their attention back to the issues that the voters here in Sembawang West and the rest of Singapore really care about: the high cost of living, unemployment opportunities, job security, and so on. In fact, I would like to invite Mr. Ong and Ms. Po to have breakfast with me tomorrow at Woodlands Mart. And let's talk over a cup of kopi about how we can better the residents to improve their lives instead of continuing with what they're doing. Voters expect better from them. Let's show to Singaporeans the best side of politics and the best side of our parties. Elections are a serious and solemn exercise of the people's choice of who they want as the members of parliament. And candidates should comport themselves to the occasion. And so after I made the decision to contest in Sembawang West, my team and I wasted no time in getting the word out. On the morning of 23rd of March, on a Sunday, when I announced my candidacy here, the entire team SDP spread out across the constituency and in one morning distributed to every single household my introductory flyer. I repeat, we covered the whole of Sembawang West with our flyers in one morning. That is quite a feat, even if I say so myself. And I want to thank my election agent, Irene Tay, for the meticulous planning and the diligent execution of the entire operation. But that was only just the beginning. I still wanted to visit all of you at home. That same team now knuckled down and went around the different blocks and visited every single one of the units in every single block. And this was done in less than 3 weeks. It was another amazing achievement. I don't have to tell you how proud I am of them. I personally couldn't cover all the blocks because of the limited time. But they dedicated themselves to the task and visited all of you in the 108 blocks in Sembawang West. No money can buy that kind of dedication and passion. I have no free car park to give them, no cushy jobs in the government companies to offer them. They worked on pure passion and the desire to get me into Parliament. They have my eternal gratitude. But I want to tell all my Sembawang West friends, please forgive me if I haven't found my way to visiting you at home yet. I will continue to do as much as I can in the little time that I have left in this election. But by now, you will have received a third flyer from my team, and there will be another one in the coming days. I tell you the work that we do and the organizational strength of Team SDP because I want you to know that we will bring that same competence, that same dedication, that same passion when we manage the Sembawang West Town Council. Not only will we match the PAP's level of management, but we will surpass it. Mr. Ong says that Sembawang West will be a lonely island. On the contrary, Mr. Ong, instead of a lonely island, Sembawang West will thrive and will become an oasis of community caring. Team SDP will see to that. We will transform this constituency into a living, breathing community of hearts and hands, a beacon for the rest of Singapore to follow. And who knows, Mr. Ong might even want his Sembawang Town Council to be managed by Team SDP in the future. This estate is much more than just a set of streets and multi-story car parks. By the time I'm done with this town, it will be a community where no one feels alone, where neighbors smile and greet each other, where care for your neighborhood is not outsourced but personalized every day in every corner by every single one of us in Team SDP. I want laughter, not cold concrete. I want warm hearts, not passionless stares. You see, ladies and gentlemen, we don't need to wait for permission to care. We just need the will and each other. Singapore has become an island where we know the price of everything but the value of nothing. Somewhere along the way in the last 60 years, we lost the ability to care, the ability to be compassionate. Somehow, caring for one another has become a dirty word. We are constantly told that no one owes us a living and there's no such thing as a free lunch. We've lost our soul, that very quality that makes us human. Well, I intend to change that, starting with Sembawang West. But to do that, you will need more, much, much more than a part-time MP. You need someone here every day to hear you, to listen to you, to be that voice that speaks out your deepest worries and your highest aspirations. I will be that MP, that full-time MP who is not just your representative, but your friend and your confidant. And I make you this pledge, voters at Sembawang West, that I will not outsource the running of your town council to a third-party profit-making company. Because that is what the present PAP MPs are doing. This will have two effects. One, you will have my personal attention and care. And two, the town council will cut down on operating costs by not having to pay the managing agent's fee. We will directly employ capable professionals who have the heart for Sembawang West, rather than let the managing company choose their own staff who may or may not care about the estate. Of course, we will have the regular Meet the People sessions. I hear that residents wanting to see the MP must now wait for about 2 to 3 hours. I'm shocked. Do the MPs think they are some kind of rock stars? We will try to arrange it so that you won't have to waste so much time queuing up just to speak to me. On top of this, Meet the People sessions, I will also conduct town hall meetings so that we can discuss issues and policies that affect you and your family. Anything and everything, from healthcare costs to your children's education to mental health support, we will organize such meetings so that I can hear you say and then take them with me to Parliament. Now, one of the matters which I have been wanting to seek your views on this is the space within the estate. When I first came to Sembawang West, what I noticed was that all the buildings were very close together. There's very little open space in the estate. There was hardly any space for children to play around in, and little open green spaces for families, including our elderly, to enjoy some downtime. I went to block 717A, and I was walking along the void deck. I saw a sign that says, "No bouncing of balls." Look, I can understand. Maybe the people, residents on the second floor, can hear the ball bouncing. But that speaks to the issue, right? Where do we have space for children to play, for children to romp around in? That is a huge problem within the estate. But Ms. Poh, together with the Ministry of National Development, defended their policy and pointed to the playgrounds dotting the estate and pointed to the green circle park just outside of here. Just take a short walk and it's right there. They said, oh, the park was just so big and so big. I went down to take a look at it. I started from one end. I took a stroll, not a brisk walk. I took a stroll with my wife. And we finished it in all of 4.5 minutes. Of course, they say there's another park, but not much bigger than Green Circle Park on Woodlands Crescent. But these are not open green spaces, which are essential for the development of strong mental health. Even the Ministry of National Development has acknowledged this. The PAP keeps saying that they share this ample open green space for Singaporeans to enjoy. I say that this is not enough, including Sembawang West residents. They continue to suffer from a mental health crisis due to overcrowding and lack of space in Singapore. Now, this is a good example of how I differ from Ms. Poh Lee San when it comes to representing your interests. Some of you had asked me to raise this issue of this lack of open green spaces within the estate. I wanted to organize town hall meetings with you to discuss this issue and to ask residents how they felt about mental health in Singapore. And I wanted to talk to them about what they would consider were appropriate alternatives. So I applied to the Sembawang Town Council for a space at a void deck or a hall at the Galaxy CC together with you, the residents. But both applications were denied. But if I am your MP, I would be able to use the common spaces for town hall meetings, and this is one of the first things I will do if I am elected. Then Mr. Ong Ye Kung said that he wanted to bring in 100 horses from the former Turf City in Bukit Timah. Do you know how much land you need to build stables and paddocks and fields for 100 horses? If you can do that, why can't you find space for Sembawang West residents? I raised the issue of green open spaces because of the mental health crisis we are facing in Singapore. But I talked about it in my speech at Bukit Panjang last night, and I won't go through them again. But because we had such a smaller population back in 1960s and 70s, we had a lot more space and mental health was not such a big problem. But we added 4 million people to this island since the 1970s, and now our families are packed into crowded estates. As a result, the environment has become very stressful for our children. Let me repeat what I said yesterday. 27% of young adults say they have seriously considered self-harm or suicide. 70% of younger employees said they have experienced burnout because of work. 1 in 3 youths experience severe symptoms of depression, anxiety, and stress. As Health Minister, Mr. Ong Ye Kung should talk about what he can do to improve the mental health of residents in Sembawang West and the whole of Singapore, rather than having this weird obsession with my not contesting in the non-existent SMC. Mr. Ong said today that this is the 4th day of his campaign and that we should turn our attention to other issues. After getting a shellacking from netizens for not getting his priorities straight, he now says that he will turn to more relevant issues. I think so too. One topic that he should turn to is, as I said, mental health crisis in this country. One solution is to create more open spaces for Sembawang West residents, especially for our youth and our elderly. I won't go through some of the proposals about the future of this town council that James Gomez had mentioned earlier on. But if I'm elected, I will implement some of these policies that he had just raised. There was one resident who said, asked me whether, emailed me whether if I'm elected, whether the projects in the pipeline, like widening pathways and shaded walkways, will continue smoothly. My answer is a resounding yes. This new town council will make sure that the government will continue with its projects because these are neutral bodies and they don't care which party runs the town council. They will continue to do what they have been tasked to do. Mr. Murali said at that time, assured Bukit Batok residents that these upgrading projects are funding neutral. And they mean, and I quote, that these projects do not depend on whether the PAP wins or loses. Mr. Low continued, would you be able to form a residents committee to continue the ongoing outreaches and activities? What are your common platforms to engage with your party? I've already highlighted that over and above Meet the People sessions, we will have regular town halls. And most importantly, I will be here on a daily, full-time basis, and you will have my undivided attention as your MP. With all these duties, what I will do is continue to serve this constituency and make sure that everything runs on time and is finished on time. When you, Sembawang West voters, step into the polling booth next Saturday, don't do it nervously. Don't do it uncertainly. Instead, do it confidently and do it with pride and put that cross beside my name. And I promise you that I will make you proud to say that I am from Sembawang West and I voted for SDP. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Chi. And we will see you all tomorrow evening. Plaza!
Yeah, I just